back to its operations as an airport. But what is it that stopped it being so in the first place? So you must address that. You want to address humanitarian crisis. I agree. There must be a way of doing it, taking on board the fact that there is what is causing the humanitarian crisis, and that must be addressed. Right? So, anything else about Goma?
Well, somehow there is also another side of the whole story that has been kept repeated, especially now it's still alive in Europe. It's about the looting of minerals and all that. I mean...
Again, that is nonsense.
Exactly.
They looted minerals better than anybody, worse than anybody I know of in history. So would you even listen to that? Minerals? Minerals, they sell minerals in, what is it? In Antwerp, where is?
Antwerp. Diamonds.
Diamonds.
But there are no
Do they produce diamonds? Or they have gold, bullions they took long ago and they are adding more? Do they have a lot of gold really? Do they have gold mines? These Europeans? They take it, okay. To make their case even simpler or less than it is, they may even say, no, but the gold or the diamonds or whatever we have is brought by legitimate people, okay? Would you believe that? But that legitimate, when they are there, they are the legitimate ones. So, but this whole thing, why do you think, by the way, there is something to do with there is an MOU actually we're supposed to be having with Europe, which involves, I think, and a lot has been worked on about traceability and so on and so forth, okay? Rwanda got involved in that and passed every stage and standard that was expected on that. Now, what is funny and contradictory is, at some point, then DRC goes to Europe and says, no, don't sign anything with, but how do you not sign anything that was supposed to be transparent and show where the minerals are coming from or who is involved? So on one hand, you want to be clear that there is nothing except that Congolese always passed through here, and some sold it here to Rwandans who went and sold it to somebody else. Others, they sell it through Burundi, through Uganda, through the neighbors. But it is only Rwanda that was picked on about minerals. Simply because, I think with the audience back home in Europe, they listen more to these accusations. The more they hear of them, then the more questions they raise about Rwanda. Whether what they are saying is happening or has happened or not. So minerals, really think, okay, FDLR, that actually at some point was in control of Goma, or the surroundings of Goma. why are they found to be innocent in the whole equation? And yet every day we point out things to do with FDLR. But they are not interested. They say, no, they are few, they are... Well, if they think they are few, they should come here. We will take we give them face-to-face conversation with those that have been brought from Eastern Congo recently. They will tell them the stories. But do you think they even want to do that? Haven't some of you journalists, maybe, I hope you're also not selective about what you want to know. Haven't you asked to go and meet these people who have been brought from Congo, the FDLR, to tell you their stories that show you how they are so embedded and intertwined with the Congolese forces and other
duhera ku mirongo y'urugamba.
So that plays behind the scenes role, and you don't see it at the forefront being talked about. In fact, some of these FDLR have been doing mining in Eastern Congo. Where do they take their minerals? Maybe those are the minerals that end up in Europe, but they would rather hold Rwanda responsible based on the stories around minerals. What sense does it make? You know, don't... sometimes we overrate people. We overrate them in a sense. We think they have, when it has been said by Europeans or by this, then it must be true. But these are the things they get involved in. Petty things. And without borders. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. President. We have one more question about Goma from Romain Gras of Jeune Afrique. The question says, President Macron said on the sidelines of the G20 that the M23 and those who control Goma airport have not made the necessary effort to reopen it, stating that the administrative conditions have been met by the DRC. What steps need to be taken to achieve progress on the airport issue?
Well, I don't know, what is being referred to as the government of DRC having met what? I don't understand. That they met what?
The administrative needs.
What administrative need? To the best of, I don't know what, first of all, the meaning of what he had said. For example, are you aware that the airspace in Eastern Congo is actually closed? You can't overfly. You have people flying from wherever, whether South Africa or going there. Planes don't overfly Eastern Congo because DRC government closed the airspace. Now you want to open an airport in a closed airspace, and he says somebody has met the standards, administrative standards. I don't understand the meaning of it. Second, those M23 and others who control what? Who control them? You mean M23 who control, or M23 and others? Ah, okay. Could I equate it with saying, maybe he wouldn't like that, the government of DRC, the FARDC, and FDLR. FDLR actually has a big control in that area. They are being fought every day by the M23, even before those who control the airport come in. So would President Macron wish to say something about FDLR? I don't think so. You know the reason? There is a whole story about FDLR and those others from Europe who talk about the airport, those others who control it other than M23. There are those others from Europe who control FDLR. And that's why they are always quiet about FDLR. You see always when issues about Eastern Congo, about Rwanda backed M23, and then when FDLR, they are really whispering. They don't even want anybody to hear it. And then for government of DRC, it's some individuals who get involved in these wrong things. It's not a government. I mean, this is selective way of presenting issues and even wanting to address matters sensitive like that based on how you have selected to handle it. I think it becomes part of the problem, by the way. That's why I was saying those others, other than those who control the airport, but from Europe, have been part of this problem as of origin of 31 years ago tragedy we had here. You've been associated with that. Maybe with time, when if those things keep coming up, and the way they have been, we will say more about that. I think if they think we can be silenced to not talk about their historical role and responsibility in matters of tragedy here in Rwanda, and which crossed into Congo, and people there, you see hate speech, you see all kinds of by leaders. And those others in Europe tend to minimize it and don't even want to talk about it. But then they talk about Goma, M23, and the others who control it. Who control both? I mean, I guess they mean who control M23 and who control Goma. Yeah, but there are those others also who control from the same place where the voice came, who control government of DRC and control FDLR. And that's why FDLR, people keep quiet about it. But, well, if they want us to roll back the whole efforts of the understanding of how we should relate based on their involvement in the tragic history of this country and the region, they are welcome.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next question for Lionel.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Lionel Ditelier from Pan-African Review. My question will be about Africa's security in more broader terms. At the recent Land Forces Commander held in Kigali, you noted that Africa still faces the world's the most active conflicts, and that the response is constrained by external bureaucracy and decisions made afar, even when speed and autonomy are needed. At the same time, Rwanda's interventions in Mozambique and Central Africa show us what African-led solution can achieve when partners trust each other and act decisively. So in light of these contrasting realities, what do you think are the reforms required for Africa to be able to strengthen its capacity to respond on its own terms? And how do you see Rwanda's interventions or partnership shape that future?
Yeah, it's an important question, but very difficult. Again, I think if I remember the saying, you can take horses to the well to drink water, but you can't force them to drink. You take them there, but it is the horses to drink the water anyway. If they don't want, you can only just stand by and watch, isn't it? So I think Africans, we have everything. We have the water in front of us, and we are thirsty, we should be drinking. But we find an excuse for not drinking the water. I don't think we need anybody coming and whipping us into that. So when the Africans decide to drink the water that they actually badly need, I have no medicine. I can't. The only thing we try to do when we collaborate with our brothers and sisters on the continent, like in Mozambique or Central African Republic, or participate in other efforts, we are only trying to say, we can drink the water. We are actually drinking the water based on our thirst for it. And then it's like saying, why don't you? Telling somebody else, why don't you quench your thirst? So, I don't know. There is nothing Africa doesn't have, actually. All these things, or these areas where we fall short, I can only be surprised and say, why? Why do we keep falling short on everything, including the provision for security for our people? When we have the people, we have the resources, we have the knowledge, we have... what is it that Africa doesn't have? Tell me. We have good weather, maybe that's what spoils you. We have... what don't we have? Numbers, we have 1.4 billion people on our continent. So what do we want? You know, what else do we want? Or what do we lack? So that is, it's a pathetic situation. Yeah. I don't think I have helped you to understand what you can do, but not for lack of trying. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President. We take one question and then go to break from Anangwe.
Thank you, Mr. President. Eugene.
Maybe why don't we continue a little bit, then maybe another 15 minutes and then take a break.
Eugene Anangwe, we're CEO, founder, East Africa Media Group, and the Africa Leadership and Dialogue Institute. Mr. President, my question is on leadership. And I listened to you keenly at the recent Unity Club forum, where you challenged Rwandan leaders to reflect on what's holding Africa back. And I remember you talking about feeling that this is linked to leaders who pursue individual gains. For the close to 20 years I've been in Rwanda, I reflected on this, especially listening to people who have been serving in different quarters. And when someone tells them, "Nukomeza bucho, urisanga kuri yellow paper," and they say, "Reka, reka, 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 reka." And the reka, reka, reka is not because they don't want to serve, but because of the pressure to deliver that leaders in this amazing country go through.
The pressure to deliver without apology.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yes. And this brings me to the question of your style of achieving this culture. I know of countries where people will kill each other to get those positions of leadership. But here, not everybody can take that pressure to deliver without apology. So if you were to deliver a lecture at President Kagame's School of Leadership, what would those three things be that you'd say about this subject of servant leadership that happens in this country? And then the East African community, the momentum seems to have died out. Checking on ground, people feel like it's not the same pressure, the same momentum that was there. I know in this room, half of the people might not know who's the current chair of the ESC Heads of State Summit. It's not like long ago where there was a lot of hype around this. Something must have happened, Mr. President. I don't know if you also feel the same. What is that might have happened? And what do we need to do to be able to bring back that momentum that we had about this fastest growing regional economic bloc? Thank you.
Well, to start with the last, I think you hire different people. You hire different leaders and see if they can. But leadership is a broad subject and always discussed in every corner and part of the world. It doesn't mean one thing. Many people have different definitions or interpretations of what should happen. I'll give you my take. It's so simple. First, leadership isn't about just serving yourself and being proud that you've done something for yourself, except you can do that only if you are delivering something. Because if you are leading people and you are delivering and you see the benefits reflected in the lives of those people, then you can have personal satisfaction and pride. So this is different from what I started by saying. If you lead and you're so much involved in what you can do to benefit yourself, that's the opposite. I can only serve to benefit myself by being satisfied that my role as a leader is benefiting those I lead. Well, but that then becomes the theory. the broader theory or philosophy of leadership. But we also know that more importantly, there is the practice of it, the real tangible results you can see and hear from people. That makes the biggest difference. So with that understanding, which I think many people have, the rest becomes a choice of how you are going to live your life and the purpose of any service or leadership role you may be playing. We can learn the theory, but in the end, the practice is ours. Yes, you can study and have degrees bestowed upon you about leadership, and you can be an expert and be there actually teaching leadership, and everybody moves out of the room energized and feeling on top of the world. But the moment you step out of the door, the choice is yours. How you use that energy to fulfill the obligations that the theory was talking about. So it's not an easy thing. So you can therefore have this and match it on to what you asked about East Africa or whichever entity or institution. We have to keep trying, we have to keep challenging one another on the basis at least of this theory, and then tying it with the practice and say, but we are saying these right things in this institution, but the practice seems to be coming out differently. So you have to agree that's how issues of accountability come in, because people they understand the theory but have failed on the practice, and they are causing damage to those they lead. And therefore, that's when you say, if you are found to be doing this and you run into this and you are causing suffering, then measures should be taken. By doing it intensively, I think you reduce on the damage that is caused by bad leadership. So, as you said, at a personal level, I also confess, I will tell you, I have no apologies to make for. And then I tell my people, you know it very well. I have said, by the way, when you get tired of me, get rid of me. I'll walk away without any, I will not fight back. If people say, no, you are becoming too much, insisting, both, too much is not just in time. Too much can also be how much you do in time that disturbs people, okay? But accountability and the desire to have results is not for the half-hearted, no. So by nature, I found either I'm doing it, unless somebody shows me saying, you know what, there's something wrong you are doing. I listen, by the way. I also have ears, I have a sense of trying to listen and learn, but if nobody comes up, and we all agree that what we are doing is the right way to go, on that one, I